guys, so I don't have to introduce myself. But today is going to be much more of an interactive workshop. You guys all know and have heard us preach about these client core habits, how important they are. So I'm not going to stand up here and push that down your throat. What I am going to try and do is give you a framework through which to apply these things to your life. Does that sound good? My hope is that you walk out of here today understanding more about who you are, what you believe about yourself, the habits you need in place for someone who believes that about themselves, and then the appropriate goals. So what I want you to do right now on that beautiful piece of paper there is to draw exactly this. 3 big circles, goals in the outer one, habits, belief / identity, and then down below, goals, habits, belief. And I'm going to give you guys a couple minutes to actually write in some answers to these boxes. Like what is a goal that you have this year? You're at this workshop about health trajectory and goals. I'm guessing you have some sort of goals. You're not the people that are like, I hate people who set goals. Maybe you are. Mike, is that you? No? Okay, good. And then what is one habit that you would need in place to accomplish that goal? And then what is something that a person who does that habit consistently would believe about themselves? And we're going to get deep into this stuff today. But I want you guys to get some initial answers down, just to give you some, like a framework through which to think about this stuff. So if you have a goal to save $8,000 this year, maybe a habit would be, I don't know, setting aside a percentage of your check. Like a specific percentage. The belief would be, I'm the type of person that saves money for my check. I'm that person. That's a great shirt, Connie. A friend. I think you went out and bought it yourself.
No, I didn't. It was a Christmas gift.
Mm-hmm. There's Brisson down to hug from me. So these can be pretty crude at this point. As long as you get something down on your paper, I'll be happy. You got some things down? Actor. You gotta have the headings in your bubbles.
I did it correctly. You got to do it.
Oh, maybe a bubble.
Yeah, you got it.
Okay.
Some people back there have blank bubbles.
You didn't want to crowd it out with us.
Did you guys know each other before?
No, but we're the same person, right?
No.
Dan calls us the twins.
Oh, all right, so let me tell you guys 2 stories real quick. One is of a client of mine named Ganesh. Ganesh was my first personal training client when I started working after college. And he was like 270 pounds, about my build, height-wise. He had about 100 pounds to lose. So that was his goal, right? Lose 100 pounds. Is that a good goal? Mm-hmm. Yeah, great goal. His habit was dutifully tracking his food each and every single day. So we did that. We tracked his food every single day. He exercised with me 3 days a week, and over the course of a year, the guy lost 70 pounds. Yeah, it was pretty great. I was like, I rock. I'm an amazing personal trainer. This guy's great. And then life hit. He got busy. He started going to school full time, and all of a sudden, the weight started coming back on. And on and on and on. And before I knew it, I was still training him. He was back up to 270 pounds. Because he didn't change his belief and identity. He didn't believe that he was the type of person that was healthy. He still had the same beliefs about himself that he had before he started those habits. Let me tell you another story. So when I was 22 years old, I met this girl, really cute, brunette, dark hair, and she was into cycling. This was at UC Davis where I went to college. She's really into cycling, and as a 20-something guy, who wanted to get to know a girl better. I was like, I'm gonna get into cycling. So I asked my buddy, I was like, hey, can I borrow your bike, man? So I borrowed his bike, I asked her out on a date, and we start cycling, and a month later, I'm on the cycling team at UC Davis. Yeah. Before I know it, I'm shaving my legs and wearing spandex in public, and I'm a full-blown cyclist. That became my identity. And it's a part of my identity that's stuck with me to today. And I ride my bike 2 days a week. I don't even have to think about it. And I reap the health benefits of good cardiovascular fitness. That's part of my identity. It's different than if I would have said, hey, I'm going to set this goal to ride my bike, or this habit to ride my bike 2 days a week to accomplish this goal of losing weight. And hopefully it gets down to the belief or identity level. So there's 2 ways you can go with this 3-circle method. You can go in, which doesn't work, or you can go out, which works really, really well. So most people focus exclusively on what? Goals, results, outcomes, yes. And the problem with that is true change doesn't happen until you change what you believe about yourself. And so that's what we're going to try and get down to today. This is like the more difficult stuff to define, is what we believe about ourselves. And it's really easy to say, like, hey, I want to hit this weight loss goal by this day, and we'll get into that, setting good goals, but what's way more important is understanding this belief piece. So the most important thing that you think through is whether or not your goal aligns with your beliefs. So what I want you to do on your paper right now, we're going to start with the identity piece. I want you to write down something you already believe about yourself. What is something you already believe about yourself that leads you to take an action that is effortless? I'm the type of person that brushes my teeth. Or maybe even deeper than that, I'm the type of person that cares about my oral hygiene. So I brush my teeth every night. I don't even have to think about it, I just do it. And that leads to the goal of my dentist usually being pretty happy with me. Changing our habits is challenging. We try to change the wrong thing, and we try to change it in the wrong way. Instead of focusing on the identity or belief, we often focus on the goals piece. When we focus on goals, outcome-based habits, the focus is on what we want to do, or what we want to accomplish. When we focus on the belief or identity piece, the focus is on who we want to become, which is so much more important. That's the on the journey piece. And when a client comes in the door, and I remember a lot of our initial conversations with you guys, and they say, hey, I'm ready to become the healthiest version of myself. I want to lose weight, but I don't care a ton about it. I want to get off blood pressure medications, but I don't care a ton about it. I just want to become this really healthy version of myself. I don't say a lot, but I'm like jumping up and down in my chair, so excited because I know they're going to be successful. Because they want to change what? Their belief, their identity, what they believe about themselves, which is so much more powerful than, okay, I want to lose 30 pounds so I can look good in my bikini or my board shorts, and to do that, I'm going to eat bland chicken breast and broccoli every day. Like, well, that sucks. That's not fun at all. So your identity, though, will emerge out of your habits. Have no fear. For those of you that have an identity goal, that you want to adopt this healthy person identity, just because you're not there yet doesn't mean you can't constantly be casting a vote for yourself and casting a vote for the person you're striving to become through your habits. So who has an identity thing that's not too personal that they'd like to share? And what habit does that lead them to do?
I am an athlete.
Okay. Yeah, you always show up to your sessions. So is that kind of the habit that it leads to?
Right.
Cool. Anybody else?
Putting yourself first.
What?
Putting yourself first whenever it comes to,
That's yours?
yes.
Okay,
To,
nice.
you know,
That's something you already do?
well, that's what I'm working on.
Oh, okay. What's something, we're talking about something you already,
I'm gonna go to class tonight, but I really should be doing something else with the family or for the family.
right.
And I think a lot of people
So listen to this quote by James Clear, the guy who wrote Atomic Habits. Becoming the best version of yourself requires you to continuously edit your beliefs and to upgrade and expand your identity. The real reason habits matter is not because they can get you better results, although they can, but because they can change your beliefs about yourself. If you take away nothing else from my talk today, take that. Habits can change your belief about yourself. You can cast a vote, I love that terminology, cast a vote for the type of person you're striving to become through your habits. So what I want you guys to do is we may have to work backwards a little bit, and I want you to start with the belief piece, but until you know your goal and define it well and the habits it's going to take to get there, sometimes it's hard to actually define the belief part of it. But I'm willing to bet most people don't smoke cigarettes here, so I bet it's really easy when you walk into a convenience store to not buy cigarettes, because you believe that about yourself. I'm not the type of person that smokes cigarettes. I'm not a smoker. That's an identity. I'm trying to quit. That's a habit. And it's really tough to quit smoking because it's addictive. I'm trying to exercise more often. Not so great. I'm an exerciser. That's just who I am. That's me. I work out. I feel weird if I don't. It's not like I have to force myself to do it because I've adopted that as my identity, and I'm constantly casting a vote for that person inside myself through my actions. So take a moment. If that changes that identity piece for you at all, I want you to write down the identity you're striving to adopt. Or maybe it's just like a little bump in the next direction in this next year. One of my friends is an entrepreneur like me, and he told me, he's like, I want to adopt the identity of high-performing entrepreneur instead of lazy man-child this year. I said, okay. You guys might know him. It's Robbie Wiltsey. He's like, some days I wake up and ask myself, am I going to be a high-performing entrepreneur today or a lazy man-child? And then I go back to bed. It's funny. So what is that identity you want to adopt? Or how do you want to transform your identity in the next 12 months? I'm okay if you don't have a great answer right now. We may have to come back to this. That's totally fine. But I hope when you walk out of here today, I've at least percolated some thoughts inside the coffee pot of your brain. All right, let's talk about these habits. They're on the wall, right there behind you. All 15 of them, they're awesome. So I would hope that some of those would make it onto your list. We're not going to talk in depth about habits today, because we're going to talk about them all year long. But I hope that those would make it onto your list. Every single client that has weight loss aspirations that's been successful in the last year or two here at Village has reduced their carb intake to under 100 grams a day. So we don't rise to the level of our goals, we fall to the level of our systems, habits. Goals and resolutions are fine, but we need a really clearly defined plan or the habits to get us there, and this is where we should obsess. Once we've got our identity in place, we're like, okay, now I know what I want to become, I know the identity that I want to believe about myself, maybe I'm not quite there yet, but I'm going to constantly do the habits and actions that are going to make me believe that I'm that type of person. So Nicole and I, last January, I gave this talk and I told people one of our goals was to be better with our financials. And we were like, we're going to become the type of business and the type of people that pay really close attention to what's going on financially within our business. So we set a habit or an action in our calendar that we were going to meet for an hour and a half every Wednesday afternoon. And we did it all year. We probably met 45 times last year. And man, we understand our financials. That is now a part of what we believe about ourselves and our business. Like, we understand those numbers really, really well, and it's helped us to make amazing decisions over the last year with really good clarity. It's led to us, hitting a lot of goals that we set as a business. I'm going to come back to this calendar thing, but your calendar needs to reflect what you want to accomplish. If you want to save money, build better relationships, travel more, lose weight, or get off medications, there need to be actual activities in your calendar that are going to get you there. Got to have a plan. So a goal may be, I want to lose 30 pounds by December 1st, 2020. The system would be show up to 95% of small group training sessions, measure my carb content, keep it under 100 grams a day. Maybe just those two things. Is it realistic? I've had a lot of failures with setting non-realistic goals, so I don't stand up here and tell you I'm someone that has it all figured out. In fact, I definitely don't. Oh man, I set a goal last year of I was going to food journal every single day. I failed by like January 2nd. Oh my gosh, and I just realized again and again when I get to the end of the day and need to track my food journal, it's like I hate this. I just want to hang out with my wife. So I just started eating. Yeah, it is. I just started eating less carbs, and it all took care of itself. You know, we stopped buying carbs. It really helps, yeah. So I didn't ask myself, does the plan fit into my calendar? It's a great question to ask yourself. Do my habits actually fit in my calendar? Number one. And then number two, what do I have to say no to in order to say yes to this? What am I going to, like our Wednesday budget meeting, I just say no to working Wednesday afternoons. It's like, all right, I can't take clients on Wednesday afternoon. I can't train my staff on Wednesday afternoon. I can't follow up with new leads on Wednesday afternoon. We're just going to be home and go through this meeting. So I'm going to give you guys about 5 minutes here to define the habits that you need in place to push you closer to that belief or identity. And I want you to ask yourself, where are these things actually going to fit in the midst of my life with 4 kids? You know, where are these things actually going to fit in the midst of my full-time job? Or my spouse and I both have full-time jobs. Where does this stuff actually fit in? So one more thought, then I'll give you guys a couple minutes to think through this. Nicole and I spent 4 days in Crestline, of all places. Anybody ever been to Crestline? Interesting place. Gross water, very pretty trees, cheap real estate. Those are my thoughts. So we spent the first day reviewing 2019, like what happened this last year? What did we like? What did we not like? We spent the second day dreaming about 2020. What do we want our family life to look like? Our routines and patterns? What do we want our business to look like? And then we spent the third day saying, okay, how many of those dreams actually fit into our calendar? We had to cut a bunch of them out. Like, okay, we can't do that. It would be really cool to go to Kenya, but it's just not going to happen this year. It would be really cool to go visit our friends in Alaska, but that's not realistic given what else we want to accomplish this year. It'd be really cool to do all these things with our business, but we need to pick. We need to cut it back. So ask yourself, like, where is this actually going to fit in my calendar? What am I going to have to say no to say yes to this carb thing? Or whatever it is for you. How am I going to have, what am I going to have to change in my daily schedule to have 1 meal per day eaten slowly, mindfully, and in community? I set a goal this year, it's my last thought, and I'll leave you alone. I set a goal this year to walk more. I want to walk to work and back. And I've barely hit 11,500 steps. Maybe like a couple days this year. I'm getting close though. I was walking like 2,000 to 3,000 steps a day because I was driving to work, standing, sitting all day, driving home, playing with the kids, going to bed. But now I'm like 10,000 most days, so I'm doing pretty good. But I had to start walking to work and back. It's like, okay, there's 15 minutes on the front end, 15 minutes on the tail end. Okay, that means I'm going to get home 15 minutes later. It's just going to push into my evening. I've got to cut 15 minutes out of my morning. I decided it was worth it, so I made that happen. But I didn't realize when I started that what I was going to have to say no to say yes to walking 11,500 steps per day. So take some time, write out the habits that you want to implement. I'd go 3 or less. 1 might be enough. If it is, just do 1. What are the habits, and what do they actually fit in your calendar? What do you have to say no to say yes to these habits? All right. So I'm going to come back after I finish this goal piece, and I'm going to give you guys another 5 minutes. How many of you guys in an average week get 5 minutes of complete silence with nothing but a pen and a piece of paper? Yeah? Nice. Okay. Powerful stuff. When you just sit down and think. Some of my biggest realizations business-wise have been, I'm in this like business coaching group that I go to, and he makes us sit for 45 minutes with nothing but a pen and a piece of paper and write. What are the 3 biggest problems facing my business? How are we going to solve them? And I was like, ugh, just sit here for 45 minutes? Like, just keep giving me information. It's like, well, you have the information, it's right there. Now we just need to figure out, does this actually fit in my life, and am I going to take the step to write it on a piece of paper? All right, so now let's talk about defining good goals. This is the least important part of this talk today, but I'm going to do it. Smarter is just fine. Goals need to be specific. You guys probably already knew that. Bad goal would be, I want to run more. A good goal would be, I want to run 3 days a week for 30 minutes. That's specific.
Reminds me of my friend's New Year's resolutions this year are, I just want to drink more water, eat more vegetables, eat the juice, and nothing was specific. We were laughing.
Yeah. I'll be curious to see if it works.
Yeah,
It's
no,
really
and she
tough.
set herself up for not failure because there's nothing in place.
Yeah, not failure. That's
I want
good.
to read more books.
Measurable. So kind of the same thing. Instead of save more money, cut spending by $1,000 a month and put half of that into savings, half of that into paying off debt. So you want to be measurable. Maybe it's like, I want to lose 2 pounds a month. Actionable. Instead of something like, I want to be more consistent in blogging, I'm going to blog for 30 minutes 1 day a week. So I like to set writing goals for myself. So Eric and I are working on this back pain book. So instead of setting the goal of, we're going to write a back pain book by the end of the first quarter, I set a goal, I'm going to write for 30 minutes 5 days a week. And if it gets done by the end of the first quarter, great. If not, I will have accomplished my goal regardless. Risky. So last year I set a goal of completing the Lake Tahoe off-road triathlon in 4 hours, which was kind of a stretch for me. I did it 4 hours and 11 minutes. I just missed my goal. But it was good. It pushed me to train harder, to get out when I wouldn't have wanted to get out. And even though I didn't hit that time goal, I think I still accomplished a lot with the training I did in that experience. Another risky goal, I'm going to come to this one again. Last year we set a goal not just to take a week vacation, but to take 2 weeks off with no contact with our staff. I was like, man, we set that goal last year and we did it. It was great. It was awesome. Our staff's really great. Especially Jamila. She's great. She texts people to get reviews. So if you ever get that text like, hey, can you leave us a review? It's Jamila. So look at her nice face. So how could you say no to that? Good goals are time keyed. I have terrible handwriting. Bad, lose 20 pounds. Good, lose 20 pounds by September 1st, 2019. They're exciting. A bad goal would be, again, take a 1 week vacation this summer. A great goal would be take a 3 week sabbatical with no connection to work, or shut your cell phone off for a week. To me, that sounds exciting. That's one of my goals this year. And then relevant. So this is more related to the habits. Like, are they appropriate for the season of life that you're in? If you're a mother of 4, a bad goal would be, I'm going to get my MBA this year at Harvard. You know, maybe a better goal would be, I'm going to take a business course online. That'd be more relevant. I've had to ask myself that question a lot with the goals that I have. Like, is it relevant to the season of life that I'm in, or not? I have to have these conversations with people when they first start at Village, and they're like, hey, I have 3 young kids, I work full time, I commute an hour and a half each way. I'm like, okay, well, where are these things going to fit in your life? Is this the right time to do this? Do you have the mental and physical and energy capacity to actually make these changes happen? And most people haven't thought through that because it's tough. Like, when I give you some time here at the end to sit silently and think through this stuff, just know everything in your brain will be screaming to not write things down, to just, go about your way and not have clearly defined things, because that making those decisions in the moment is really, really challenging. People who write down their goals are significantly more likely to hit them, to be successful with them. Another thing to remember, I got a couple quick things to throw at you before we do this silent goal writing time. Goals cannot equal happiness. Like, you can't tie your self-worth and contentment to the achievement of a goal. Because I can guarantee once you get there, you will not be any more or less fulfilled. You might feel a little bit better, but it will be so temporary. And as someone who's read a lot of fitness blogs, There are a ton of people in the fitness industry that's their story. They're like, I got the six pack, I felt really good health-wise, and I realized that it was kind of vanity. You know, it wasn't meaningful. So just know that when you get to your goal, it will not equal happiness. But if you commit to the process and find joy in that, you'll actually enjoy yourself on the way to get there and realize there probably isn't any getting there. It's just a journey. All right, some quick actionable things for you guys. The power lies in tiny habits. I'm going to turn my computer around and show you guys this little. This is my 1% better every day graph. So if you were to get 1% better every day for a year, just 1%, you would be 37.78 times better by the end of the year. Wow, that's a lot. And if you got 1% worse every day for a year, you would be at 0.03. Just some data. I know you like data, so are you enjoying this?
Yes.
Yeah, I figured so. So my point there is small little changes in the right direction are so much more important than big, like, I'm going to revamp everything in my life. How about take the cream out of your, or the sugary creamer out of your coffee. Let that be your one change. For me, I was like, that's kind of lame. My goal this year is to walk to work and back. I was like, well, it's about a mile each way. I'll walk 500 miles by the end of the year. Some days I walk back twice. So I was like, man, I'm going to walk like 600 miles this year. That's a lot. By the end of the year, I'm going to be super buff.
500 going, and then there's only 600 going back. God did not double.
What? Well, some days I walk twice.
Right, I know.
So 250 days of work or so, there and back, 500.
Yep.
Then some days I'll walk twice, so I added another 100.
Okay. So you're being song at the end of the year. And I will walk 500 miles. You can put that on, maybe you'll like.
Walk more.
Or something, yeah.
Automate everything you can. Make good decisions easy and bad decisions hard. If you're trying to avoid toxic processed food, where do you think it should go? The trash. Nice, Robbie. Yeah, make good decisions really easy. If you want to have a daily yoga practice, like put the mat out and leave it out. I had the habit of, actually let me tell you a quick story here. When we lived in our old apartment, my guitar was on the wall. And I would play guitar all the time. I would just grab it, play guitar, grab it, play guitar. We moved into our new place. I was too lazy to put it up on the wall, so it sat in my case. I stopped playing my guitar because it was too much effort to get it out of the case. I didn't think about it, but it was, what? I didn't see it every day. So make good decisions really easy. You guys probably all heard this one. It's so simple, but if you're going to exercise in the morning, put out your workout stuff. If you go to bed wearing your workout clothes, yeah, just brush your teeth before you come in. Create an environment where doing the right thing is as easy as possible. Reduce the friction associated with good behaviors. When friction is low, habits are easy. Increase the friction associated with bad behaviors. When friction is high, habits are difficult. Prime your environment to make future actions easier. Almost done here. New habits should take less than 2 minutes to do. So think about, if you're like, well, that doesn't make any sense for me, I want to exercise 3 days a week. Think about the habit that's going to get you there, that's going to take 2 minutes. Maybe it's something as simple as I am literally going to put my workout clothes on and get in the car. That's my habit. I can almost guarantee you put your workout clothes on, you get in the car, you're not turning around. And then the last thing, accountability is massive. Tell people. You're here today, you're writing things down. Maybe some of you will be bold enough to share what you wrote down. Get a coach, you guys all have us. Yeah, this is good stuff. An airplane takes off from LA to New York. If you adjust the heading just 3 degrees in one direction, it would land in Chicago. So I want to encourage you guys as you go about writing down your goals in just a minute here, habits and then the identity piece, or vice versa, if you can work the other way, do it. don't think you have to create some huge change. Tiny changes are going to lead to massive results. All right, so we're going to give you 5 minutes. I don't want anybody to talk. I want you to write down the identity that you're trying to adopt or transform, the habits or actions you need in place to make it happen, and then the goal that you want to achieve. All right. Is anyone so bold as to share what they wrote down? Okay, Kayla.
Through all of it.
Sure.
My belief is to be a well-functioning adult.
Okay, I like that.
I'm going to go through goals first and then habits. So
Okay.
my goal for this year is to set 12 habits for the whole entire year.
Okay,
So I'll focus on one habit a month. And
Nice.
that goes from exercise / stretch, read, play and explore, cook, create, write / journal, no social media, research policies, budget, 8 hours of sleep and no snooze, and meditate and reflect.
nice.
Each of them have different rules set for them.
Different rules?
Yeah.
Okay,
So, exercise / stretch, 30 minutes, read 30 minutes, clean a section a day, that means physical or digital,
Okay.
Explore on weekends, cook every meal I can reasonably make, let's see, create for 30 minutes, write / journal for 30 minutes, no social media, so that means delete apps besides messaging,
nice.
research policies for the upcoming election for 30 minutes, 10 budget, so limit spending and catalog savings and spendings, 8 hours of sleep, no snooze, self-explanatory, and then meditate and reflect for 30 minutes and write what I reflected about.
Cool. Do you know someone that does all those things already?
No.
No? Okay. So that'd be a very well-functioning adult. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing. Anybody else want to share? Okay, Cynthia Looney, thank you.
One of my identities that I'm hoping to adopt, I am a responsible adult who takes care of her financial resources.
Okay,
Habits would be a weekly bank balance checking. I know like my generation doesn't balance their checkbook the way that like our parents or do. So
my parents had a giant spreadsheet on like ruled paper. I was
yeah,
like, what are you doing?
I'm like, this is really, but you know, you have online stuff. I
Do
don't
that?
know.
Sorry.
So, but that's part of
My
it, like, because I get so much anxiety not knowing what the numbers are.
Yeah.
So like a regular check-in
Where's that going to go in your calendar?
Monday mornings.
Beautiful.
Avoiding impulse shopping and prioritizing.
How are you going to make that hard? You're going to freeze the credit cards and ice blocks?
I'm going to not leave the house when I feel anxious, like to go to the store. Yeah. And prioritizing spending and making, being intentional about like long-term goals and things like that. Also my Mondays, so thinking about,
Nice.
like when I think about things I want to do with my time, I get stuck because I don't know how to pay for that. Like I don't know how to pay for going back to school. And
Okay.
So I don't get part of it.
Hmm.
So my immediate goals are to have just a standing $5,000 in savings, standing
Nice.
$5,000 in checking,
Nice.
zero credit card debt by April.
Cool. I like it. Very specific, actionable, time key. Good stuff. Anybody else want to go?
I'll go. So my identity is to be a fit mom and grandmother. So my habits would be get up and walk 15 minutes after my first cup of coffee.
Okay. Nice. I like how you stacked it.
And then get up at a consistent time, 5 days a week.
Okay.
I'm all over the place. Eat less than 100 carbs through food journaling and meal planning. Mark a visual calendar of success daily. I'm a visual
Okay.
person. If I don't see it on there, that'll help me. And then my goal is to lower my BMI to the normal range by June 2020.
Cool. I would encourage you to try and figure out which one of those habits is going to make all the other ones easy or unnecessary.
Pretty much I already eat under 100 carbs, but
Okay.
it's just a daily habit.
And then the waking up one, what are you going to have to say no to say yes to that? That's probably going to be the most.
I have to get a good sleep.
You what?
I need a good sleep pattern because I don't sleep well, so I just sleep better.
Klingler, what you need?
The gym box.
He's gonna come like that at night.
Hey, I'm a gym boss. So are you. Corinne?
So mine is actually kind of similar, but to actually become a fitter mom. And I started the process after the Healthy Rebellion workshop that
Cool.
we did. But I actually started going to the gym with my son-in-law at like
Awesome.
between 3 and 4 a.m.
Wow.
So that was huge for me.
That's early.
Because I'm the person, you have told me since I have a sitting job, that I need to move more.
I said that?
Yeah.
Oh.
And, because my knees started to bother me from just sitting all the time. And so it was like on my hour lunch, get up, go down the stairs, walk around the apartment complex or whatever. But, so I started working out and going to the gym, but I won't do it by myself. I need somebody to kind of kick me in the butt and say, come on, let's do it. So he's like, okay, Mom, let's go. It's like, what time? He's like, before work. And he gets there, like, at 4 or 5 sometimes, it depends. He's like, how about 3 a.m. tomorrow? I'm like, do I really want to do this? He's like, we're doing it. And I'm like, okay. So it's
You need to
like,
find another friend that doesn't wake up so early.
so anytime it works,
Because
you
your
know,
sleep is as important as your workout.
so like the accountability works for me if he kicks me in the butt to do it, like I'll go, because I'm like, I'm not going to disappoint him, so I'll go. And then I make sure I get to bed early enough to get the sleep. So that's my thing, is to make sure I keep the accountability and do it. So it's the habit of being with somebody that's motivated to do it. He's religious with his workouts. So that's my goal for 2020. And it's reaching out and find, like, I have a school of ministry group, and there's a gal in my group that's kind of religious with workouts, and if something else can work out, she works at Kaiser like I do. So if we can link up schedules, then that's my goal for 2020. Do not have to go at 3 or 4 a.m. So that's kind of like, right? No, but to like get there, and it's not so much how much I weigh, it's to get healthy.
Okay.
Because I'm not, like, if I start looking at the numbers, I obsess about it.
Yeah.
So
Most people do.
it's kind of getting out of my head, but to get financially healthy as well, and do the whole balancing the checkbook thing, and do that more than likely a bi-weekly thing,
Cool.
and on a Friday, in the evening. But other than that, that's kind of about it for now. It's just kind of like a couple of things and shit.
Cool. Thank you. So keep in mind, building habits is a skill, something you will refine, and it takes years, maybe even decades. It's something you can always be improving upon. So as you now have this new framework, or maybe a little bit more clarity on the framework through which to think about your goals, your habits, the identity, belief piece, I hope that it helps to transform the trajectory you're on this year. I'll be up here for the next 10 minutes if you guys have questions. Thank you so much for coming today. Thanks for sitting and thinking deeply about this stuff. I hope it's really helpful for you.